Good evening. I'm Satya Mitra, the chairperson of the Committee of Municipal and Legislative Operations, and I'd like to begin the meeting, and I request the clerk to get the roll call.
Councilors Bergman. Here. Rosen.
Here.
And Chairperson, Councilor Mitra.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me introduce some of the people I have with me. First of all, at my left is Councilor Bergman. Councilor Bergman was the chair of this committee in the past, so I'm going to be learning a lot from you, Councilor. And to my right is Councilor at large is Gary Rosen, who is the senior most counselor with us and the powerhouse of wisdom, I call. So I'm going to be learning a lot from you as well.
I can see you already learned a lot.
So, and with that, I also like to introduce some other guests that we have with us, City Solicitor Alexandra Kolkunia and Commissioner of Public Works John Westerling, and Commissioner of Parks and Recreation and Cemetery, Robert Antonelli. And then we have Chief Financial Officer, Timothy McCurdy, appreciate it. And Fire Chief, Martin Dyer, thank you. And Chief Equity Officer, Kevin Lovanian. Let's see, I just saw him. Yeah. City Clerk, Nico Vangeli, and Deputy City Clerk, A.J. Partle, who is also clerking the meeting today. So with that, I'd like City Clerk A.J. Partle to do the virtual attendance call introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, in order to ensure active public engagement, the City of Worcester currently allows for both in-person and remote participation at all of its meetings. To partake in the meeting, you can either come in person or join via Zoom. The Zoom link is listed on the Granicus portal of the city's website. There's also a phone number, and that phone number is 1-646-828-7666, and the access code tonight is 161-499-9501. And we do ask that folks use the raise hand function if they are attending virtually and would like to speak at any time when the chair would recognize such. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And we'll go to the item number 2 on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. So I take the vote on all in favor to approve the minutes.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Hearing none, I think minute gets approved. We'll go to number 3, miscellaneous item, where the miscellaneous item 3A, it reads, the order of Councilor Satya B. Mitra requests Standing Committee on Municipal and Legislative Operations review the rule of City Council to consider amending Rule 3 of the Rules of City Council to change the seating assignments for the City Council members every 6 months to allow the members to sit and work with different colleagues throughout each term, and said seating changes should not impact the seat of the vice chairperson of the City Council, nor any member seated in specific location for accessibility purpose. This was the order from January 20, City Council meeting 2026. And upper discussion, since I had placed the order, I would just like to mention that my goal was rather than sitting together throughout the year with the same friends, maybe we can mingle with others and change the seat and learn from each other more. So that was the purpose of making it a little bit healthy and come together more closely and develop some camaraderie between us and see that we can change the seats every 6 months. So that's what was on the amendment, and I'd like to open it up for anyone has any discussion. Yes, Ned.
Fred Nathan, Worcester. Thank you, Chairman Mitra. And listening to what people are saying on the outside, because everyone knows I come here and they ask me, hey, so what's this all about? I said, well, this is an item here that was put forth by you to move things around because it's tough, for you counselors. I mean, unless you're talking over in your office here to really have the full buzz of the other counselors. And obviously, you do talk amongst yourself here when you're sitting next to someone, so you kind of, little ideas get floated around. However, there's also a perception out there that, I mean, as much merit as this might have, it might almost sound like it's like a playpen. And I hope that is just a couple of people saying that and not a generality of the people out there. So just kind of take it from there.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone? Councillor Rosen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know as far as my own personal seat, I sit on that side of the room, which is the side I always would prefer. So this might mean that I would wind up on that side of the room, which I could certainly live with that, but I do prefer that side. And if the idea is for us to talk to people next to us, other councilors, that's not my style. I tend to try to listen as much as I can, because the more I listen, the more I learn from people, whether it's my colleagues speaking or whether it's people from the audience. So it doesn't really matter to me who I sit next to, because I don't want to have conversations with anyone during the meeting. Doesn't mean that someone might turn to me. I very seldom turn to the other person. I just don't. I might on occasion, but it's not something I regularly do. And I think there's a perception out there among the public that there is a lot of talking, some use of the phone perhaps, that's different from what this order says, but talking to each other and maybe not concentrating as much. So I don't support this. The only way I could support this particular item is if the 10 of us with our seats, I think there's 3 that would not be affected by this item. They have 3 seats that they're going to keep. So it's 7 of us that it affects, because obviously the mayor's not changing and 3 other councils wouldn't be changing. So it affects the 7 of us. And if we could decide that we wanted our present seats, any of the 7, maybe 6 want to change, and Gary Rosen as number 7 wants to stay right over there, and I could have that choice, and the others wanted to change, that would be fine with me. I like my seat. I like who I'm sitting next to. I'm not looking for conversations or, to really get to know my colleagues during the meeting. I'd like to know my colleagues in many ways, outside the meetings perhaps, but not during the meeting. So, I can't support this unless we do say, well, if 6 or 5 or 4, 2, even 2, want to change their seats, then let them do it. But if you already have a seat, which we all do, and you want to keep it, you want to retain it for 2 years, like I want to do, then we should be allowed to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor.
Thank you, Chairman Mitra. I'm happy to comment on and give you my thoughts, but before I do that, through the chair, with the chair's permission, I'd like to ask both the city solicitor and the city clerk a couple questions. First, to the city solicitor, through the chair, if that's agreeable. So to City Solicitor Kalkunis, what is involved in changing this, if were this to be the will of the council? What would be involved legally to amend Rule 3?
Through the chair, so you would have to recommend repealing or deleting the current Rule 3 and replacing it with the new amended, and then it would go back to the full council.
Through the chair, majority vote of the council or supermajority
It's
vote?
8 votes.
So supermajority vote. Okay. And through the chair to our clerk, Mr. Vangelli, what do you see as the pluses and/or minuses from a logistic point of view of what this item represents?
Through the chair to the councilor. So basically, every January with the new term, as we did it this past January, the mayor and the council members meet in this room before the meeting. We, pick out names out of, we used to be a hat, now it's like a raffle device. I don't know what it's actually, the actual name for it, but that would mean if the rule does change based on the will of the council, that not only in January at the beginning of every term, but now it'd be in January of every year, and then probably in the summer in July of every year, based on, as I read the ask from Council Mitra, that we would have this kind of lottery or this kind of seat movement. I just want to repeat for Rule 3, it does state that you have this kind of drawing, but also with the permission of the chair, you can remain seated there, or you can ask to be moved out of that seat. If you like, I can read the Rule 3 as it reads on the rules at this point, if that helps with clarification.
Please do.
The seats of the members of the city council shall be numbered and determined by a lot conducted by the mayor immediately before the first meeting of each council term, and no member shall change his or her seat, but with the permission of the chair. So that's how it stands.
Okay, no, thank you. I'll just finish up with my own personal comments. I mean, I understand the rationale behind this, and I kind of respect Councilor Mitra's mindset, as I understand it, on why he thinks this is a good idea. I guess I'm somewhat neutral on it. I think there could be some advantages to doing this, but I also think that logistically it might start to be a little cumbersome. But at the same time, I'll certainly go with the will of the majority of the council on this. If this were a different council, a different time, I might feel differently. I had a difficult seat the last 4 years in the sense that some of the more animated, I'll use that word, council meetings kind of exposed my seat more than others to some of the animosity that took place in the council chamber over the last few years. But I will say that now that we have different security systems in place and we have a different council makeup, I don't think that's as much of an issue. So I'll certainly be willing to sit wherever if this is enacted, wherever I'm asked to go. I'm not sure we're going to get 8 members of the council to agree on this, but I'm certainly not opposed to it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Bergman. Thank you, Councilor Rosen. If I could just say a couple of things, a couple of words rather, in this context, that my whole intention of making this proposal was really to bring us all closer, because I know that we can meet outside, we can mingle with others, but how many times do we really do it? We're all so busy with our neighborhood meeting, with our ribbon cutting and personal jobs and everything. So I don't know how many times we get a chance to really get together with each other here. For 2 years, we are there for sure. Every Tuesday evening, we're going to be coming here, meeting with each other. Alexander the Great had once mentioned that whatever amount of time you give to someone next to you, it's like giving a part of your life that you can never revoke. You're always there, that you cannot take back that time that you give next to it. No matter what it is, I think when we sit next to it, if there is some kind of relationship, some kind of conversation. I'm in a very privileged position, the current seat that I have. I sit next to Councilor Bergman, I sit next to Councilor Toomey. I wouldn't like to give that seat away, but I want someone else also to take that seat and figure out how good it is. I'd like to sit next to Councilor Rosen and see that it's not that we sit next to each other, we don't talk at all. We do have a conversation, we do have a feeling for each other. I think it develops a sort of like a good feeling, connection, camaraderie, that, we don't mind changing whoever we sit with. That was my idea for residents to know that we're all together. So I had a very positive thought behind it. I mean, it's not a very cumbersome job to change from one seat to the other in 6 months. So I would like to see that you all consider the positivity behind it. It's giving a part of your time next to someone rather than sitting there for 2 years with just only one person. I'd like to see that we do think that it will be a good positive approach for this council, and we come together more closely in 2 years. So with that, I'd like to probably should we seek a vote at this point? Sure. Seek the vote to see what your opinion is. So, all in favor?
Roll call.
A roll call. All right, city clerk will do the roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we'll do a roll call to recommend to the full city council approval of an amended Rule 3 that will reflect changing of seats every 6 months. Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Rosen,
No?
and Chairperson Councilor Mitra.
Yes.
Thank you.
So this will now be recommended to the city council for the majority of the votes there, and we'll go from there. Super majority. Okay, thank you so much. So that takes care of that. Now, we go to item number 4, where we have communication of city manager miscellaneous items. 4A is recommend adoption of the proposed amendment to city ordinance related to the appointment of constable. This is coming from 2024, August 27, and I'll open up maybe, if you want to say something. The council, solicitor.
Through the chair, so this ordinance, while we were digitizing the constable application process, we realized that at the last reorg of the ordinances, it was just like a Scrivener's error that the old constable ordinance was adopted and not the one that the council had actually voted for, which was the longer term, and then it gave some discretion to the chief of police for application fees. But this request was really just to reflect the process that had been happening for years. It was just a previous version of the ordinances was adopted and included in the reorganization.
Any questions?
But since we discovered this, we have, only appoint constables for 1 year. So basically, by the time you're done appointing them in the springtime, they come back in October to get reappointed for the next 1 year appointment. So the state law allows 3 years, and that's what the council had previously adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, through the chair to the city solicitor, this is to correct the process that we had been using because we were following an older ordinance?
So we were, through the chair, we were following the 3 years.
Even though on our records, we had a different
It was the 1
policy.
year, it was the older one, but the council had actually adopted and extended the term to the 3 years once state law allowed for that. So when there was an amendment in the ordinances, the older version got included, but the council didn't actually take a vote to reduce the term.
So tonight's vote would rectify that.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Councilor? Okay. Roll call?
Roll call to recommend approval to the full city council. Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Rosen,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Mitra.
Yes. Item number 4B is requesting review and approval of an amendment to the municipality organization ordinance, modifying the Department of Public Works and Parks, creating the Parks, Cemetery, and Recreation Department, relocating the Designer Selection Board to the Department Administration and Finance, and restructuring the Fire Department. So this has already been in place, so I'd like Commissioner Westerling to say a few words on this, explain this. Any one of you, maybe.
So through the chair, I was in favor of this change because I think that two things. One, Commissioner Antonelli is well-positioned to serve in the position of commissioner, and I believe that the creation of a separate Parks, Recreation, and Cemeteries department gives that department the ability to have a greater presence when it comes to budget requests, needs from the city council, and anything else that's of importance in those areas. So I was in full support of this.
Thank you. Commissioner Antonelli, do you have anything to say? Parks and Recreation? No? Yes, sir.
just thank you to Councilor Mitra, our chairperson. Just very briefly, a number of us on the council, myself included, have been an advocate for a long time to kind of bring back the division. I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean it as an adjective, the division between between DPW and the Parks Department, the way it used to be decades ago. And we've done that, and I think this is just kind of a continuation of recognizing that the division of responsibilities makes sense for all the reasons that Commissioner Westerling just mentioned. So I certainly will be supportive of it. I think for the short period of time that we've had a separate Parks Department and DPW, it's proven what I expected, which is that it makes sense to have them separate. And I think it's proven to many of my colleagues that it's the right thing to do. So I look at this as a continuation of continuing to divide those two organizations as they used to be. And it's not a question of weakening both, but it's rather a question in my mind of strengthening both.
Councilor Rose?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, am I right that this has already been done?
It
This
is,
has already been done, so,
this is to be filed.
so this is our, so we're taking a look at it to not necessarily approve it because it's already been done. So what is our
So-
purpose then?
We're supposed
Through
to
the
approve it.
chair, if the council or the committee doesn't take action within 90 days of proposal, then it is deemed adopted. So the 90 days has expired for this when it was part of the last
So it
budget
adopted-
hearing.
It adopted itself basically because of the delay by
Yep.
this committee, this previous committee.
Well, sometimes it's intentional because there's no comments, or this was part of the budget process last year.
Okay. I support it 100%. And in fact, I supported back in 2005 when we merged the parks, which was separate at that time, with the Department of Public Works. I supported that move because, no, I mean, I didn't support that move because I thought parks should have stayed separate. And I support now, obviously, re-separating them. I dug out some information from 2005, and it's based on information from the city of Worcester and surrounding reporting. The consolidation of the Parks Department into the Department of Public Works in 2005 was primarily aimed at improving efficiency. And again, we had these arguments made back in 2005. Obviously, a lot of you weren't involved in city of Worcester government at the time, but I was. So aimed at improving efficiency, streamlining management, and ensuring better maintenance of city assets through an integrated structure. And I wasn't sold on this. I'm just saying this is what was primarily presented to the city council then. I still wanted to keep parks separate. Key reasons for this included operational synergy. Combining the departments allowed for better coordination between parks maintenance and DPW services, such as forestry, traffic, engineering, which often share similar equipment and labor needs. And it was also done for centralized services. The merger was part of a broader effort to consolidate city services, and there was more on that agenda at that time than just this particular merger. There were other departments involved. Broader effort to consolidate city services to reduce administrative overhead and streamline operations, allowing for a single department to manage infrastructure, including parks, roads, and sanitation. It also was done for improved maintenance. The restructuring aimed to provide a more consistent level of maintenance across all city spaces. It was done for management accountability. The consolidation allowed for more centralized control over the management of parks, which had historically operated as independent bodies. So we were told back then that the best thing to do was to merge the two, and several years later, we're told again the best thing is to separate them again, which I support. I would have supported in 2005 keeping them separated, but obviously a strong case was made then, just as a strong case is being made now. So I hope I won't be around in the next, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, but I do. There we go. I do hope that next 10, 15, 20 years, that whoever's on the city council then, they don't come back and say, you know, let's bring them back together again. So there were reasons in 2005 why we did what we did, and now I guess there's some good reasons why we're undoing what we did in 2005. I support it. I'm just saying that, you know, there were reasons then, and are any of them still good reasons to have merged them? I don't know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Fire Chief, you have anything to say
On his part.
on his part? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is just a relatively simple refresh of the ordinance to make sure that it reflects the current organization of the fire department. Over the years, different positions have been added or removed or changed the reporting structure. And so this ordinance brings it all into a line. This revision brings it all into line so that it actually reflects the way we are operating as a department today.
Okay, thank you. If no other comments, I'd like City Clerk to roll call to file, recommend to file.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Rosen,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Mitra.
Yes.
Thank you.
Move on to item number 4C, requesting a review and approval of enclosed reorganizational ordinance amendment regarding the law department. Solicitor Alexander.
Yes, through the chair. So again, this is already effective as is, but the organization has changed a little bit over the last year, so I'll be presenting you with the new organization this budget season. But yes, this was really just to reflect the day-to-day operations of the law department. Our ordinance was, 3 paragraphs, but we actually had a lot more divisions, and there was, responsibilities that we wanted to reflect in the ordinance.
Sure.
Thank you, Chairman Mitra. Through you to the city solicitor, is there any advantage on these items that have already been allowed kind of de facto because 90 days have passed to approve them as opposed to filing them, or does it really make no difference?
Through the chair, I don't think it makes a difference. It's already been adopted as written.
And through the chair to the councilor, if I could just interject as well. The city clerk's office already goes through the process of updating the revised ordinances on the city's website, so it would effectively be, I would say, more appropriate to file it just because the constructive adoption already occurred at the 90-day mark.
Thank you. I only ask that because I think sometimes the public gets a perception. I can think of one example, which is maybe a more extreme example, when the budget was allowed because we didn't take any action to change it. Public gets the perception, at least I think the public does, that kind of neglected our responsibility to take some action, right or wrong, yes or no, and just let it kind of lapse into a final decision. So I asked whether it makes sense to essentially rubber stamp what's already happened or just let it be filed. And if the answer is just let it be filed, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Sure. Councilor Rosen, any comment?
No,
Okay. Anyone else in the audience? None? I'll request the city clerk to roll call for recommending to file.
Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Rosen,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Mitra.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 4D, the last in the miscellaneous category, is recommended adoption of ordinance incorporating the Commission of African American and Black Affairs and Commission's LGBTQIA+ affairs. This is December 23rd, 25, and it's up for recommendation to approve. Any comments now? Yes, Kevin, maybe.
Through the chair, so the previous city councilors did adopt these 2 ordinances establishing both of these commissions. They were under a previous article, but that had been revised and recognized another department. So currently, those 2 commissions that were not existing. So we're trying to revise it to ensure that those 2 commissions are now under the appropriate article and then that they exist.
Please.
Through the chair to Mr. Levinson, I have no problem supporting this. I just have a question. Does this, as I read this, does this mean that both the Commission of African American and Black Affairs, the Commission of LGBTQIA Affairs are being combined into into some sort of entity under the ordinance, or are they intended to stay separate?
Through the chair, they're intended to stay separate. They're two separate commissions that operate differently on their own.
It says incorporating the Commission of African American Affairs and the commission. So to me, maybe I'm overthinking it. Incorporating the two, to me, means combining the two, but you're saying that's not what it's doing.
Okay. Through the chair, so these two commissions are being incorporated into the Executive Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. They previously were under Health and Human Services.
So they're not being incorporated together, so to speak. They're being incorporated with other entities under the umbrella of health. Okay.
Of DEI.
Okay, thank you. That helps. Thank you both.
Councilor Rose?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Anyone in the audience? No. Can I request the city clerk to roll call for the recommendation to approve?
Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Rosen,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Mitra.
Yes. Okay. Now, we go to item number 5, which is communication of the city manager, the financial update items. There are monthly updates given to us, and the latest one is the November 30th, 2025. We have our financial officer, Timothy McGurty. If you would just give us an overall.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, this is a monthly report that we provide to the council to give an update in the same form as the annual ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, to give a sense of revenues and expenditures that the city is undertaking throughout the year. It's, at this point in time, this represents the first 5 months of fiscal year 2026. 42% of the fiscal year. We're right where we should be. Our revenues are about 43% of our budget. Our expenditures are about 43% of our budget. It's important to note that revenues and expenditures don't occur at the same rate throughout the fiscal year. So there are cycles of various revenues that come in and various expenditures we might make. But this is solid and similar to prior year activity. We don't see any issues. The report also includes our enterprise accounts, the water, the sewer, off-street parking, golf. Again, those are solid and where we would expect to see. So at this point in time in the fiscal year, as of November 30th, 2025, we don't foresee any financial issues, and we anticipate completing the year, on a solid financial footing.
Thank you. Councilor Rosen, any question?
Yeah, through the chair to Mr. McGurty, any idea how we're doing on our snow operations budget so far?
Through the chair, it is quickly disappearing. Unlike the snow, it is melting fast. So it is, we're utilizing a lot of the budget. I think there's a transfer on this evening of funding from capital outlay to salaries for OM at snow in order to pay plow drivers. Currently, it's within the snow budget. However, as we go along, there's more snow expected tonight, as you know, and we do have a little bit more of the season to go. There is a chance we will exceed the snow budget, and we'll have to look for other funds to transfer in. We do have funding in contingency that could be drawn upon in an emergency. As we get to year end, we look at other available funds within departments, unexpended balances. But the snow budget is tight this year. Last year, it came right up to the edge. It did not expend or go over its budget. This year, we have a feeling it will.
Thank you.
Councilor Bergman?
Thank you, Chairman Mitra. If I may, to our CFO, Mr. McGurthy. The way I've done these in the past, my past involvement on this committee is really two questions. One is there any red flags on any of these financial reports, beginning with the August report through the November reports that we should be concerned about? That's my first question.
Through the chair, there's no red flags at this time. Everything's proceeding as we would expect.
And is there any concern that any items on any of the financial updates would affect in any way our strong bond ratings?
Through the chair, no. We're actually in the midst of our briefings of bond rating agencies. We met with 2 today. We meet with the 3rd tomorrow. No, the financials as they are good. What the bond ratings agencies always look at are liabilities, our kind of exposure on things like debt, on pension, the potential of unanticipated costs and how they might impact the budget as it is today. But right now, for the financials as they are, we don't see any red flags.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Fred, you have something to say? Go ahead.
Thank you. Fred Nathan Worcester. Just curious, Chairman Mitra. You just testified that it might exceed the snow budget. So, to be clear, is it because that they're having to pay people more? Or is it because, just in general, the snow budget because of the size of the storms? Because that would be an important question for everyone to have the information on.
Yeah.
Just
Thank
a
you.
thought.
Mr. McCurdy, yeah, answer.
Through the chair, I defer to the commissioner for his input on this. However, I don't think it's a result simply of the amount of pay. I think the amount of snowfall this year compared to prior years is significant.
Yeah.
The amount of activity required has been significant. As we increase salaries, it's absolute, or compensation for drivers, it's absolutely appropriate to think that there is some impact from that. We cannot do the same if we're paying people more. At least we can't have the same hours of activity if we're paying people more for the same amount of money or same budget. But right now, I think the major factor is just the amount of snow and the amount of effort required to clear the streets.
Is that okay, Mr. Nathan? Okay. Mr. McCurdy, I went through the, numbers, and as I found that considering the fiscal year that we are in, the percentage of the whole year, our revenue, our expenses are pretty much at par. The way I calculated it looked like it is the way it should be. Not really a big hiccup that I saw, Councilor Bergman, I went through, and I just wanted to attest to that. The only question I have is the item where it says other financial sources, where we have shown that brings the number into the negative number. Otherwise, I saw that we had the surplus at the end, but those are some items that I saw was the transferring of other financial sources, and then we have the financial sources 2 or 3 times, and those are some, I didn't know what are those.
Through the chair, so those are our financial integrity plan funds. One thing we do as part of the budget process and throughout the year is we transfer budget items into various reserves. So money goes to the new high school fund, it goes to the South Division bond rating stabilization, various reserves that the city has for certain purposes. Those are transfers out of the annual budget and become part of a reserve asset for the city. So those are generally monies still within the city family, so to speak, but to a purpose other than the annual operating budget.
Okay. So that means that as of November 30th, we're still in the surplus, if you look at the P&L.
Through the chair, pretty much right now, but again, we have 7 months to go. We do expect to bring in the next update to the city council's next manager meeting. So at that point, we'll be at 6 months. As mentioned, there are certain costs that hit. Debt service is not uniform throughout the year, so we're actually right in the middle of our heaviest portion of debt payments going out the door. Taxes are, the first 2 quarters of taxes are preliminary taxes. Those are lower than the second 2 quarters, the last 2 quarters, which are our actual taxes. So our revenues do go up from taxes for the second half of the year. So there are various things that will hit along the way that, it's a little early to say where we'll end up, but we're where we need to be at this point in time, and there's
Yeah.
no elements of concern.
That's what it looked to me. Thank you so much. Appreciate your explanation. No other questions, no other comments, then I request the city clerk, I'm going to take all five collectively, A, B, A through E, and take the roll call recommending to file it.
Councilors Bergman,
Yes.
Rosen,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Mitra.
Yes. With that, I think we come to the end of this meeting of the our municipality and municipal and legislative organization operations. So I'll seek a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? So we adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.